to round 4 of the Old Cranky Man Collectibles Modern Championship Series Qualifier. This round, we've got Damon on 5-color creativity versus AJ playing Living End.
A personal favorite of mine. I love Living End.
Anything that does anything at all with its graveyard, you're like, sign me up.
It's like you know me.
Weird.
Yes, I'm a big fan. The weakness is inherent when playing with your graveyard.
Sure.
Often mitigated by how powerful and explosive your plays can be.
Right, you're just going to put 15 power into play on one turn.
Exactly. And strip your opponent of their entire hand.
So these are two basically unfair decks.
Oh, 100%.
5-color creativity has, let's see, it's got Leyline Binding.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
I think these two are just racing, right?
Hoping for a quick Archon of Cruelty.
Very much.
Unfortunately, Living In has the ability to put a lot of power into play in one turn.
It's so funny. I was watching Damon play in the last round, just like off coverage.
Mm-hmm.
He was playing against Luke, and I thought he was a scam deck because he had Reflection of Kiki G flipped and 3 goblins out, and I was like, "Is this just a scam deck?" No, he's
nope.
And then he played an Archon.
Fable, very good in the creativity deck because it creates multiple targets for your creativity.
Oh yeah. Honestly, just activating it to make a token so that you can create, like, you can easily get multiple Archons out.
Yeah, copying an Archon of Cruelty, pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Indomitable. Yeah, just go Indom. Creativity.
It's a T, not a D.
Yeah.
Indomitable.
This art also sick house.
Indomitable creativity. Yeah, she's turning a Thopter into
pure ether.
Into ether.
It looks like a sword from Halo.
It is.
It looks like one of the laser swords.
Very, very sick art, courtesy of.
Don't try.
The Richkino Alexander.
Yeah, off to game 1 here.
Got a fetch land, gonna find a Triome, 10 out of 10.
Damon just fixing colors for the first couple turns, right?
It's a Triome that I don't know what it is because it's a showcase art.
I'm pretty sure that Zeator is Proving Ground.
I also think that's Zeator's Proving Ground.
Yeah, it's very hard to tell. Zeator is with a Z. I know this because it is always at the bottom of the ZIA.
It's always at the bottom of the deck list?
Yeah. It's the Jund. It's the Jund Triome.
I don't think that's a Zeator's Proving Ground.
There's 3 different arts.
There's 3 different arts for the showcase frame?
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's the ring.
The ring.
Yeah. That's the one I have.
Opponent.
Renin 6. Coming down, ticking up on nothing.
No, he got the Arid Mesa back.
Oh my god, yeah.
He still doesn't have white mana, though. Chump. Here's the Arid Mesa. Architects of Will has hit the bin. AJ just passing the turn back.
Yeah, you don't ever cast that card. I think something's gone horribly wrong if you're casting an Architects of Will.
It's a free thing you can use to cycle.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Is this running like it's the Street Wraiths and everything?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
It is a bona fide Living In deck.
Bona fide. From the Latin to mean accurate and true. Bona fidelity.
Absolutely not.
Bona fide. I don't know if that's true.
Fidelity Mutual Insurance.
Fidelity just meaning loyal. More fetching, more cracking, both players just racing. Damon doing a lot of work.
Dude,
against his own
last
back total.
night when we were playing, I was so annoyed that everybody just kept fetching all the time. I was like, can we just play now?
Oh my god.
I'm playing a deck that does not have that many fetch lands in it.
I did not fetch that often.
I have a few. You fetched every turn. I was
Did I?
I was the most annoyed by you because every turn you searched your library.
Oh,
every
yeah.
single turn.
I'm quick about it, but yeah.
No, it's not quick no matter how quick you are. And then there's a lot of times where you just fetch and then pass the turn. Like, okay, you could have done that on my turn, bro.
Oh yeah. Already? You hated. All right. So last night I was on Dredge. I was on 4-color Dredge, and the quality of my cards is so bad.
Here is a grief.
It just tilted you.
Pitching a street wraith.
Yeah. Great card in this matchup. I think we definitely want to take creativity if at all possible.
Yeah, can't see the cards in his hand. They're off camera.
Yeah, if there's a creativity, we're taking it. There, yep. Okay.
Goodbye, creativity.
Yeah, so that's exactly what... Nicely, we get to... There's sort of a
So
lead up.
I see a ley line binding. Nope, they're gone. He put them back into his hand. I tried.
It's fine.
He has a ley line binding, I can tell you that.
Yeah, but knowing that your opponent's on creativity, you sort of have a lead up to it. You know how much mana it costs. It's triple red and X, right? So until they get to 4 mana, you basically have time to set up.
They also need to have a token into play, which he does not.
Yeah, and AJ just sort of like took his time. May have had that grief in hand for a while.
So here's a dwarven mine gonna make a token.
Yeah, so this is the problem, right? Is that
little tokeny boy.
he doesn't necessarily need to make a token when his lands make tokens for him.
Right.
And so this is the danger of creativity, is that it's a self-fueling machine in this way. So he may have not had a token then, but if he didn't take that creativity would have gone off this turn.
Right. Yeah. We would have an Arcan in play.
Absolutely. And the fact that it's so consistent in what it does, AJ timed that perfectly, in my opinion. That like he didn't grief
Right.
too
There's
early.
no reason to grief on turn one.
Exactly.
Right.
People fire off their thought seizes so fast in this format that it feels like sometimes they're doing it wrong. Unless you know what I mean, though. Like you don't.
I am a big fan of holding on to your discard spells until you need them.
Like if you were, unless that is part of your game plan to run them out of resources to 1-for-1, like in the case of Jund or whatever.
Sure.
Oftentimes, it's better to hold it up until the turn when you need them to not have it. So we got a second dwarven mine here, and just swinging in, just getting in with them dwarvy boys.
Heck yeah, bro.
This is sort of the alternate mode of the deck. This is the mode that I saw in the last game against Luke.
The bad mode.
He was just hammering in with a reflection and 2 goblins every turn. He was getting in for 4.
Not ideal, but it certainly will get the job done in a pinch.
It's a 5-turn clock, man.
Most definitely.
And that Ren and 6 sort of getting close to ulting now, unfortunately. Not unfortunately.
So we can just retrace our Indomitable
Correct.
creativity every turn and make
Yes.
a lot of Arcans?
You probably only need to do it once.
The bad part is like, okay, so now Arcan is going to come into play. AJ is going to get a discard a card, which is something he already wants
It's
to do.
actively good.
Arcan is not going to make him sacrifice any creatures because he doesn't have any.
Correct.
And then AJ's going to untap and presumably cascade into a living end.
I really think that he has been waiting for this to happen.
Right.
Because he then gets to... Because you don't want to do it too early. He has 1 grief in the yard.
Okay, so this is living in a little bit different than Rhinos, right?
Correct.
Rhinos just like...
Wants to hammer it.
We're gonna tempo our opponent out. We're gonna make a bunch of 4/4s that have trample, and then we're gonna get sideways.
And here we go.
Living End, completely different ball game.
Yeah. And he's letting it go now. What is his opponent doing? He's retracing. Is he retracing or is he? Nope.
No, he double spell
Pierce. Yeah. But you have to. But now he's empty-handed.
Bless me.
Bless. May not be empty-handed. I think he may have some cards in hand still.
Creativity?
Yeah.
He has a bunch of cards.
Oh,
in
does
his
he?
hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now we're doing it again.
Here's another violent outburst.
Yeah. Weirdly, I don't know if Damon has any lands in hand. Is Indomitable Creativity sorcery?
It is. Yes, Indomitable Creativity is a sorcery.
Yeah, so can't really respond to this in any way. So we're going to get another living end. Look at him resolving this like a champion. Holy Christ, look at how foiled this deck is.
Yeah, AJ's deck is gorgeous.
I kind of want to kiss it. Is that weird?
Little kiss.
Little kiss. You smoke kiss?
There it is.
Yeah. And now he gets to grief his opponent.
So tokens are going to go away.
Yep. So there's no longer any targets for this creativity.
Everybody in the graveyard's going to come back.
So we're going to get a grief. We're going to get the
Architects of Will,
Architects of Will.
Street Wraith, Grief.
Yeah. And
Those are all going to come back into play.
Street Wraith was exiled, so no Street Wraith.
Street Wraith was exiled.
Yeah, interestingly, Street Wraith is important in this deck if he does get to reanimate it because it is unblockable effectively.
It has Swamp Walk,
Yeah.
So Violent Outburst going to resolve now.
Make his architects bigger. He still gets to grief his opponent and take this second Indomitable Creativity out of his hand. Not as good when he has the emblem. I honestly don't know what is he doing.
He's doing the Architects of Will thing.
What is architect? Show me, Google. Show me Architects of Will. Oh,
He needs the tape.
oh, for sure.
Yeah, so when Architect comes into play, you get to look at the top 3 cards and then put them back in any order.
Yeah, and he gets to do that for his opponent.
Right.
Target player. So you can do it to yourself. You can do it to your opponent. So that's wow. Woof. Basically a reverse ponder on him, or
Yeah.
reverse preordain.
What did Creativity have in his hand?
It was just a bolt.
So he just had the bolt?
Yeah, that was all that he had in hand. It was probably bolt land. 'Cause I think he is not empty-handed.
Yeah, he used the bolt to kill the Grief, right?
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay.
He basically responded to the grief trigger to bolt it, and grief didn't get anything else, which is like that's correct.
He got the lightning bolt.
Yes, by the bolt. Yeah, it's you're exactly correct. Yeah, it did the thing. Bolt just got some value. So we got 2 dwarves in now. If Damon has a land, he gets to creativity here. But if AJ has any other cascade spell, he can just re-clear the board again.
Yep. Here's 5 mana.
That's a double creativity.
He's discarding a land, so 2 Arcane of Cruelty is going to come.
Yep. This is Cascade v Cascade, right? This is sort of the all right. So I am of the opinion that these kind of Cascade style. This is what defines modern right now, right?
Putting a lot of power into play for very few mana.
Well, I would say deck building restrictions that benefit.
Deck building restrictions are super duper important.
Yeah, that really break cards, especially like Indomitable Creativity and Cascade.
Yep.
Which Indomitable Creativity is sort of the Cascade style deck.
I like
Or
that
Cascade
these
style deck.
things exist, and I like that they require you to build your deck in a certain way.
Correct. Yeah, it's the only issue that I have is the instant speed nature of Violent Outburst. But that's a
Okay.
personal thing. That's a personal preference. I would rather sorcery speed is the way that it's required to go off.
Sure.
But in this case, AJ is doing a little bit more. I don't think that the instant speed really is part of the required strategy here. I think if Violent Outburst didn't exist, he would still he'd find a way.
Mm-hmm.
This deck would still exist.
Mm.
And that's good.
And we're gonna go
Okay,
to the next
that's
game.
Totally fine.
Arcane of Cruelty gonna put the nail in the coffin, as it were.
Yeah, it kind of sixed him real quick.
So, what kind of sideboard options does a Living End deck have against creativity?
So, against creativity, unfortunately, a lot of the game plan of Living End is playing out of the graveyard, which a lot of the hate cards for playing out of the deck are similar to playing out of the graveyard. We can play stuff like, let's see here, Leyline of the Void. No, that doesn't do anything.
That doesn't do anything against creativity.
Oh man, there's really not a lot, because we're trying to interact on the stack, right? Man, honestly, I don't see a lot that they can bring in.
What is Foundation Breaker? What is that?
It's an evoke creature. It destroys target artifact or enchantment. It's just a disenchant.
So destroying their treasures or dwarves in response to the creativity is usually a pretty good plan. So they put the creativity on the stack, and you either bounce their treasure or destroy their dwarf token.
Yeah, but Foundation Breaker is a creature, so can't do it at instant speed.
Oh, it doesn't have flash.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah, Force of Vigor.
Yeah, Force of Vigor. That's it. That's what you bring in. So Force of Vigor is what AJ wants here. So he can destroy those treasure tokens. He's going to need to find a way to bounce dwarf tokens, but he's got like Brazen Borrower.
Yeah, he's got. I believe they play one or two copies. In the
AJ has Brazen Borrower in his deck. I saw it. What else? You know what really drives me nuts about Subtlety?
Go on.
It only interacts with the stack.
Yeah, it's sort of one of the only. It is the only evoke creature.
It would be sick if it interacted with the battlefield.
Yeah, it would be great if it was when it enters the battlefield, put target creature, spell, or planeswalker. Even not planeswalker. Put target creature, spell, or creature card on top of its just bounce the creature card or creature spell.
Yeah.
Yeah, it being able to interact with planeswalkers is sort of weirdly not blue. I kind of.
I mean, blue has lots of counter magic, right? It's a counter spell on a 3/3 flyer.
Yeah. It doesn't. Interestingly, it doesn't actually counter though. There's no verbiage of counter.
I thought maybe this was a pretty okay matchup for Living In, but maybe it's not.
Also, Damon is just very good at this deck. Watching him play it, he is just a very skilled pilot too. So we're seeing two very good players run at each other with these two decks.
Right.
And Damon navigated that game very well. AJ got to Living End, and Damon still navigated his way around.
Yeah. I mean, AJ didn't have a ton of creatures in his graveyard when he brought them back. He only got the 3 things, and the Bolt was able to take care of the grief. I still think this has got to be a pretty okay matchup for Living End.
Yeah, I kind of want to see. I kind of want to see a game 3 here.
I always want to see a game 3.
Agreed. We've seen very few today.
It happens a lot in Modern.
Yeah, some lopsided matchups.
Yeah.
Where one deck is just this doesn't feel like a lopsided matchup though. This feels like two decks that are sort of racing each other to degeneracy. AJ has a lot of free or cheap cyclers.
Right, that's what I was saying. Is I'm kind of surprised that he only had 3 things in his graveyard that he got to bring back with Living End.
I wonder if he should have cycled that Street Wraith instead of pitching it to the Grief.
No,
he probably didn't have any other black
bring back
spell.
a Grief than a Street Wraith.
Yeah, I agree.
He didn't have another black card.
I mean, if he had drawn a non-creature black spell, drawn a Living End or something, he could have pitched to it. But I don't think he really has anything other than Living End. It's probably
Architects
best.
of Will.
Oh yeah, the Architects.
Street Wraith. What else does Living End play? There's got to be more stuff than that.
Grief. He could pitch Grief to Grief.
Here's a Living End being pitched to a Grief.
Yeah.
What does creativity have in the hand here?
Looks like what is that, Sphinx? Renin 6, creativity. Is that a Force of Vigor? 2 lands. Oh no, that's the counter spell, the winged words, I believe. Or no, solve the equation.
It's solve the equation. Oh, because it counters both violent outburst and.
Or not solve the equation. It's the new one. It's
Yeah, it's not solve the equation. It's the new one from March of the Machine. It counters red or green spells.
It's change the equation.
Change the equation. Yeah, that's it. So that counters both violent outburst and
Correct.
and shardless agent.
It also counters the living end.
Does it?
Counter target spell with mana value 2 or less. Living end.
Oh
is 0.
yeah, this card seems every time I read this card, it just seems better and better in Modern specifically.
Yeah, and I don't think we're countering the green or red thing. I think we're countering living end.
Oh right, because
Yeah.
they're gonna get a cascade anyway. Sure.
Yeah. There's a Sphinx. It's the what is it? Curator of Mysteries, the 4/4 flyer that when you cycle another card, scry 1.
Good in a living end deck once you get it in play.
Yeah, just a 4/4 flyer.
Just a 4/4 flyer.
We're playing a lot of sort of not great creatures.
This is kind of what I was
for
talking
cost.
about. Yeah, right, but we're putting them into play for free, basically.
Correct.
This is kind of what I was talking about, him not having much in his graveyard to bring back with that living end. So he did get to resolve the living end.
Yeah.
If he would have had, a few more things in his graveyard, maybe, something like this, maybe, Monstrous Carabid, Monstrous Carabid.
Striped Riverwinder.
Striped Riverwinder, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't have Monstrous Carabid anymore.
No, it doesn't.
Doesn't that
look
thing
like it.
have reach?
I don't know. Waker of Waves would be good.
Living in significantly different than back in the day.
Oh yeah. It still runs a lot of those cyclers. Like obviously Street Wraith is a no-brainer.
Yeah, sure.
But some of the new channel creatures from Neon Dynasty, like Colossal Sky Turtle.
Oh, interesting. Sky Turtle seems very good. Here.
Oh yeah. That and Riverwinder there, you're seeing
So
it.
Sky Turtle being able to I gotta read that card again. Hang on.
Yeah,
just
sure.
a second. Because if I'm remembering correctly,
It has 2 channel abilities.
So you can in theory cycle Sky Turtle, get back a cycler, and then cycle that cycler.
You are
again.
correct. And then it has
So
more
that
2.
nets you 1 card.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
And you can also pay 2 and pitch it to bounce one of their tokens.
Yeah, and this trades with Arcana Cruelty really well.
Oh, 100%.
Nice. I wonder if he's on the Sky Turtles.
I hope so. That card's great. And it's a little bit more costly to pitch. Like obviously it's more expensive, just the 2 mana and 3 mana version modes of it.
Sure.
But you get that additional value that makes me really, really want to see this get played. Like this is the kind of value these channel creatures, and this is probably the best one.
In this specific context.
In this context.
Yeah, I would agree.
Because it has 2 different modes that are important in both modes are important at the stages of the game where they resolve. Can't be countered. Channel abilities are activated abilities, so
Sure.
not spells.
Yep.
And the body is so good. Like comparing this to like a
Yeah,
3/3.
it trades with Arcana Cruelty.
Yeah, it's so good. And like you don't care, that's fine.
Is Creativity stuck on 2 lands?
Looks like.
Unfortunate.
And Living End really doing a good job of filling their yard here. We've got Street Race, we got
Yeah, there's 2 Sphinxes, there's a Grief, and a Striped Riverwinder. Or maybe that's 2 Striped Riverwinders, a Sphinx, and a Grief. There's 4 creatures.
Still stuck on 2 lands there. I think AJ's just looking for a site, like looking
Just
for
drawing and passing back here. Wow.
Yeah. I wonder if he's got any amount of counter magic. Oh, he's just gonna grieve him, pitching the.
The Street Wraith.
Yeah. And what is he gonna do? Is that a counter?
Is it a Veil of Summer?
It is a Veil of Summer. Yeah. So he gets to draw a card. And now he's gonna living end.
Yeah, here comes the living end. So 4 creatures are going to enter the battlefield.
Yeah, this is.
We will get another. 5 creatures now. There's an additional copy of Grief.
Yeah. And an Archon that comes into play. Yeah. So now he's going to have to sacrifice a creature, discard a card. Probably going to sacrifice one of the Griefs, I imagine. Because he's going to get that value off the Grief no matter what. Hexproof. Hexproof seems pretty good.
Well, I'm just kind of looking at what can block.
The mysteries, the Sphinx.
Right, and that's just a 4/4, so...
Yeah. This would be a great time for AJ to bounce that to his opponent's hand.
Sure.
Is he going to sack one of the curators, or is he going to... Oh, the flyer? Oh, interesting.
Interesting. So he's got 16 power here. His opponent is at 19 life.
Yep.
I do believe he wins this race. So, no, wait. His opponent is going to get to attack first.
And it's a 6-mana swing.
His
Or
opponent-
6 life. It's 6 life swing
It's
on...
9 life.
Yeah, so 6 life on attack, and then... So 3 up, 3 down, and then
Right.
another
and
6
then
out.
another 6. It's a 9-point life swing.
Woof.
AJ not going to win. Oh, his opponent is at 16 now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what does he cast in here?
Here's a
Teferi
Time Raveler, which is going to bounce one of those Griefs back to his hand. Arkin going to come across the red zone. Yes, we are very far behind now.
Yep. He's going to gain 3. Go to 4. Woof. I guess getting stuck on... We've seen a lot of games recently where people get stuck on mana and then just go off as soon as they draw it, right?
Yeah, that is something that tends to happen when your opponent gets stuck on lands. Eventually, when they start drawing lands, they have a handful of cards that they get to cast.
This is, unless he has a violent outburst, this is probably game.
And that's gonna do it.
Yeah.
That art on Striped Riverwinder is sick.
Oh,
by
dude.
the way.
I remember when that got premiered, like all the bold lines on it. I'm like, oof, that's hot stuff.
Does look nice. Awesome.
Round 4 over.
Round 4.
Fight.
Well, I will hop out of the booth real quick and see if we can get another matchup in here. In the meantime, enjoy this commercial break.
Small commercial break. Kisses.